WCLN 1170 Radio and Cable Channel 16 are pleased to present We Should Know, hosted by J.W. Simmons, an upbeat, informative look at people, places, and issues facing our community. This education-based analysis of issues will remain positive and informative as we consider closely what we should know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We Should Know is on there. I want to thank you for being with us today, each and every Tuesday at 2:30 on WCLN Radio, Star Communications, Channel 16. We try to bring you information and, to as much degree as possible, education on things that you know more about. So it's important to tune in, call a friend. Today we have a guest with us that I know you're going to want to probably do a replay. So if you want to hit your record button or whatever, if you happen to be driving down the road, you get a possibility of picking us again on 7 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Channel 16, Star Communications. We're talking with Colonel Edward Timmons, retired United States Army. Colonel, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for taking your time being with us today.
Thank you, JW, for affording me the opportunity, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Well, you're director of the North Carolina National Guard, but I want to hit some high notes with your background a little bit. 32 years military experience. You have more. I could spend probably the next hour just reading some of the medals and recognitions you've had, but just a few of these I want to hit on. And the awards you receive includes the Legion of Merit Award, Oak Leaf Cluster, the Bronze Star Oak Leaf Cluster, Defense Meritorious Award Medal, Meritorious Service Medal with 6 Oak Leaf Cluster, the Army Commendation Medal, Oak Leaf Cluster again, Joint Service Achievement Medal, Army Achievement Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, Army Superior Unit Award twice, the Joint Meritorious Unit Award, Iraq Campaign Medal, Global Terrorism Service Award, Overseas Service Award Medal or ribbon 6 times, Multinational Force and Observer Medal, Expert Infantry Badge, Master Parachutist Badge, Pathfinder Badge, and now you are director of the North Carolina Justice Academy. How do we get this kind of talent to do what you're doing now? Because there's somewhere in your heart that said, Colonel, this is what you need to do.
I will tell you that you're absolutely correct. I mean, first of all, it was an honor and privilege in order to serve our country. Now I felt that it's my opportunity in order to give back. I came from a family of 6. I lost my father. I was 15 years of age. I was the oldest son of 6. My mother's a strong and passionate woman, did everything, and I think that my father helped lay the foundation, and the military itself helped reinforce and lay the foundations for me, and my personality and so forth fit and match that. Giving back and working with the youth of North Carolina, who can say what can be more than helping to assist, redirect a life, or save a life? And what value monetarily can you put on that? I've been blessed to have a wonderful wife and 4 strong young men, and I don't take that for granted, and I don't take the life that I've had for granted. And I was fortunate to be a product of Fayetteville, North Carolina, graduated from the went to Pine Forest High School and Westover High School, and then of course the University of North Carolina system for secondary education, and then of course earning my master's at Webster. I had strong teachers. My principals, Mr. Warren, teachers like Miss Getty, my peers and so forth, such as Major General retired Eddie Reeder. Our generation knew what we needed to do, and every generation has to deal with the same challenges that this generation is dealing with, whether it's drugs, peer pressure, whatever the fad of the times, the music. It was rock and roll for one generation, and I just believe that these youth, they are our next greatest generation, and every generation will rise to the challenges that are afforded them at that particular time, at the appropriate time.
You know, Colonel, I don't think there's anybody that could speak more to what you just commented on, is where we are in our nation now with the engagement of what we look at as even the millennial or the X or Y generation, even the younger folks now. For those folks that would say, well, I've had it rough, it's my environment that does this, truly looking at your background and your bio, you had one of the strongest, determined, I'd love to interview your mother. She's got to be a tremendous lady. 6 children, and each one of you have outperformed way beyond what average expectation is.
I cannot give enough credit to my mother and my father. My mother is a tremendous woman. You're right, she's got a tremendous story in itself. The family, it was always about doing right. There was no reason, trouble was not accepted. There was no reason for her to have to go downtown to deal with the legal aspects of the court. It was about performance. My father instilled early that your job is to go to school, get an education, better yourself, because in the real world is interested in positive results, regardless of what the excuses are. And as I said earlier, I've been fortunate to have individuals that took an invested interest in me, to give me an opportunity, to give me a fair shake and so forth. And I am deeply appreciative and recognize that I'm blessed as a result of that.
Absolutely, and I want to say to folks listening and watching today, we're going to get into the Tarheel Challenge, but I just want to explore this for a moment. What would you say to the youth today, given oftentimes what we see on media, some of the kinds of activities that folks are involved in, and again, some of the kinds of rationale that's used, the reason this is happening or other things are happening. What would you say to them today, looking at your journey, which has been a challenge within itself? Absolutely. What would you say to the thousands that maybe are listening today, if you were looking them in the eyes and you say, look, what is that key point you would want to make?
I share with you the same thing that I tell a lot of the cadets. Life is a journey, and everyone has to deal with issues. There's going to be challenges and issues, and you're not going to always get what you think was your fair shake, based on the results that you put in. Failure is not an option. Failure simply is not an option. You have to dig down and focus, maintain your faith, be strong, be determined, and that you're not going to let anyone break you. Everyone deals with a negative. There's no, one of the cliches that I use all the time is stay alert, stay alive. If it is to be, it is up to me, up to the individual. Take it a day at a time. Look forward, lean forward. What are your goals and aspirations for the next 5 years, 10, 15 years, or even 25 years? And we know that most individuals can't look that far. But you stand up straight. Keep your head up. A man or woman cannot ride you when you hold your head down. That's right. Or when you hold your head up. It's not until you hold your head down that you make a seat and a place for an individual on your shoulders. Look the individuals directly in the eyes. Stand up and be counted. Ask questions only if and when the guidance is unclear or you are unsure of what has been asked.
When I look at your track record, both academically and in the military, each step has almost been one of those things that somebody had their hand on your foot and put it there. Do you feel a sense that where you are now, and with all you have gone through with the achievements, and I want folks to understand, I only just tapped into just a few of the things I could talk about that you have accomplished. Do you feel that there's something there that you still have a reason for doing what you're doing right now?
Without a question or a doubt. I look at my time first and foremost. I believe that my steps have been ordered. The things that you said, some of the things that I've gone through in my life, the accidents that I've had, things that I've managed to survive physically that maybe I should not have survived. There's no question that there's been a hand on me. I am a God-fearing man. Anyone that thinks that you're here by yourself, that's probably, and your own accord, that's probably another story. I believe that you have to do what you do with the time that you are given. My father died at the age of 42, 43 years of age. Today I celebrate my 57th birthday. I am on his time. My sons have been fortunate to see, and for me to see them beyond 15 years of age, with the exception of my youngest one that will see his age 16 later this year.
We call that a blessing.
Absolutely, a complete blessing, and I recognize that.
We've got, I think, a tremendous responsibility, each and every one of us, to do certain things and to achieve certain things. And certainly a number of those things I want to talk about that you have been through, and I want to get to the Tarheel Challenge portion. But we're about to go to a break, and just as kind of a closing commentary before we go to the break, there's this sense that structure, understanding boundaries is critically important in our society, but you touched on this sense of core values. The Tarheel Challenge program, since its beginning back in the 90s, has had a number of core components, and I want us to try to get to at least a few of those. Sure. I think there's at least eight that you're involved in. But let's look at that when we get back, and a couple of more questions about going forward, and we're going to take a break right now. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking to Colonel Edward Timmings, the director of the North Carolina Justice Academy, and his tremendous career and what he's done. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
You're out for an evening on the town. Finally a chance to relax and forget that you left your front door completely unlocked. Fortunately, you just installed a security system from Star Communications. With just your cell phone, you can check on your house, lock it down, light it up, and get back to relaxing.
You forgot to put Buster in his crate.
Unfortunately, we can't help with that. Security and automation from Star Communications. Call today to find out more.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for being with us. We're talking with Colonel Edward Timmings, Sr. He is retired colonel with the United States Army. I read some attributes on our first segment. I also want to remind you that he is a graduate of the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He also holds a master's degree in administration of justice and management from Webster University in St. Louis. Colonel Timmings, I can't thank you enough for taking time to be here. I know you're a busy person. You've got a rather large family yourself. You've talked about in the first segment of the show the kinds of things that you have been through. One of the comments you made taking over as in November 2013, director of the Academy, you said on your first day of work that I was and I still am extremely excited. It is an honor and privilege to train, teach, mentor, and coach the future leaders of our state and country. Are you still excited?
I am still excited. I meant it then. I still live it, breathe it, and feel it today. We as the state opened a second program in Stanley County in November of last year. They graduated their first class April 26th of 2016 with 50 graduates. Seeing the excitement of these young men and young women on their faces, you don't know the impact that you have made. And in some cases, you're giving these young men and young women back to their families and so forth. To see their self-esteem increase, the possibilities that they now have that they may not have started with. And not all of these young men and women are troubled individuals. In fact, I would have to, give you something to know, is that 97% of our graduates we consider success. Why do we consider them success? Because 75% of the crimes are conducted by youth without a high school education. We have 2.7% of our graduates have even found themselves involved or imprisoned in the system. Out of the 4,360 graduates, 70 graduates we now have since the inception of the program, which has been in place for 22 years, that's only 12 young men or women that have found themselves incarcerated. That is a cost savings to the state of North Carolina to a tune of $129 million plus.
It well pays for itself.
Well pays for itself, exactly. That as an investment in itself, to you, myself, and others as taxpayers, is more than an incentive for why we should continue to do what we do. Looking at saving a life very, very early, and we're not naive, can't save everyone, but the process, the Academy is the only quasi-military program in the state. I'm still excited about it. We've opened the second site. It started its second class last Friday, last Sunday, with being the 15th of May. They currently have 111 students that they've started with so far, and the graduating mission, the target graduation mission there is 100.
And you just recently graduated your 46th class?
We currently, that is correct. We are currently in class 47 right now for Salemburg, and their graduation is scheduled for June 10th.
I find it interesting that when the Academy came to Sampson County, to this area, and we were talking about this off air, that it was located on 701, just north of Clinton, in the Halls community, and because of some not necessarily structural things, but
sure,
they needed to move it. And now it's located in Salemburg, which is also the home of the North Carolina Justice Academy. And across the street, a couple of blocks over, is the North Carolina Tarheel Challenge program. And for some odd reason, I just find that an interesting paradox.
Absolutely.
Have you thought about how that's come together?
Oh, I have. In fact, we have a great relationship with the Justice Academy. At times, we've partnered and they've used the facility for training as well. There is, you can't ask for a better partner. And as I speak about partners there, I mean, there are individuals that lived within the town that had no idea that the program had been there for 22 years. And so it's almost like a revitalization. The program itself, as you know, you are part of this venture, but cannot give enough credit and kudos to Major General Rudisil that had the vision and the foresight 22 plus years ago. North Carolina was the 10th state to receive a challenge program.
Absolutely.
Some of the states that started their programs at that time no longer have a program because of various things that may have taken place and so forth. But to have the vision and foresight, the academy, the benefits and values of the program, we've brought over $45 million to the state of North Carolina. Now the program itself is partnership with the federal government, the state, in which the federal government pays 75% of the program.
Yeah, it was started actually back in the 90s, early 90s, I think during the Reagan administration.
That is correct, sir.
Yeah.
That is correct. And since then, we have managed to maintain the program, to grow the program to what it is now. And we still yet have a lot of work to do. Recruiting is always an issue. Every college, Fortune 500 company, universities and so forth have the same challenges always in recruiting and so forth. And what our goal is to get the word out across the state of North Carolina. This academy is not just for Sampson County. It's for all 100 counties within the state of North Carolina. And we have young men and women that we call cadets that come from across the state of North Carolina, and they go back home. We focus on, as you said earlier, the 8 core components, in which the unique aspect of the academy, I believe, is, first of all, the military component, the structure. The day starts at 5:30 every single day. We start off with the same way that we start in the military, which is physical activity for the start of the day. Wakes you up, gets your heart pumping. There's no secret that we as a country, our youth are suffering physically.
Yeah.
So that starts the day, and then followed by breakfast at 7 o'clock, their personal time, structuring and cleaning up their rooms and so forth. Classes start at 9 o'clock, and they're in classes from 9 o'clock in the morning until 4:15 every single day. The structure continues with setting them preparation for the next day, their studies and so forth. And in 22 weeks later, the individuals are graduating.
When you look at what happens, and I know there's folks out there listening that want to know, and they probably have, I would dare say most anybody that's listening at least has a relative, friend, someone in their community, maybe church, that they are listening to this and think, well, maybe my so-and-so could benefit from this program, maybe 17, 18 years old. When they first get there, they have to understand this is not only, as you said, a structure program, but it is an in-house program. They live at that facility.
That is correct. This program is a 2-phase program. The first phase is the residential phase. They live on campus for 22 weeks in a structured environment, and they go through the schedule as I just mentioned. The second phase is 12 and a half months in which they have a mentor that is assigned with them, a case manager that works with them, where we track them through whatever their goals and so forth are, which we develop a plan with them that we call their master assessment plan. Whatever their goals are, whether it's to going on to college, we work with them to help them stay on track for that. They receive a stipend. This program costs a cadet and their family absolutely nothing. This is a free program in which everything is furnished for them. They have various goals and gates that they must be. There are a lot of myths out there. We don't accept felons. If a person has a felony conviction, they're not authorized or allowed acceptance into the program. And secondly is they must be an American citizen. They have to meet the physical requirements simply of being healthy and so forth. And there are folks that have had various ailments and so forth, and the law requires us to make reasonable accommodations for those individuals.
The challenge program as it moves forward and the tremendous results that you just spoke to as it relates to the monetary value. And of course, we've got another at, is it New London?
That is correct,
yeah,
New London, North Carolina.
Do you see more possibilities for challenge programs in North Carolina? And maybe I'm just being optimistic, but some of it is just a no-brainer. I look at the numbers.
Great question. There is discussion that individuals would like to see another challenge program in another part of the state of North Carolina. What that location would be, I don't know. There are a number of other things that need to take place.
We're going to take a break. I'm going to come back and continue that part of the discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Colonel Edward Timmings, North Carolina Tarheel Challenge program right here in Salemburg, North Carolina. Stay with us. We'll be back in one moment.
Whether it's video, voice, internet, or cellular, Star Communications connects you to the things you love. It's what we do and have done for over 50 years. Star Communications, your local technology company.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for being with us today. Thank all those folks at the radio station that mentions us each and every week. I try to give them a little shout out. They honestly mention our name, so folks will remember that we're on there at 2:30 each and every Tuesday, and that's the morning crew with Grandpa Nolan Z and the L Man, and of course Robert Stroud, Boogie Shoes Radio Network in the Saturday afternoon session. Each and every week he's there for like 4 hours bringing you music. And Nicole also introduces this show. She does another show on the radio called The Country Store, which is a hugely popular show with WCLN Radio, and the afternoon Tommy the Fly and Wayne Weeks with the Gospel Hour each and every day. We're talking with Colonel Timmons. Colonel Timmons, you're a retired colonel, 32 years in the military. You've taken on many challenges in your life, many very important challenges, and as we go forward, let me thank you for your service in the Middle East and various other troubled areas in the world that you have taken command of. You have been carried out in many roles. The Challenge program is a critical program. One of the comments you made, and this is in your commentary when you took over this program, you said, my teaching experience is United States Army Infantry School, Airborne School, Jump Master School, Pathfinder Schools, Assistant Professor of Military Science at North Carolina State University, instructor for Central Texas College in criminal justice. Tell me how that has laid the groundwork for you to look in the eyes of these kids when you first see them as the director of that academy. How has that piece, because it seems like two things far from each other when you look at that. So see if you can help us understand that.
I had a very diverse military career.
That could be an understatement. To say diverse, wow.
And those experiences and those avenues allow me to really cross and reach into multiple areas. It doesn't matter what idea or issue that the young men or women bring up. I have been a problem solver for the United States for a long time. I've been a strategic guy for a long time.
In probably many ways you can't mention on this show.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I recognize that I am a strategic thinker, and to be able to communicate to these young men and women the possibilities in so many different areas and aspects is what makes it exciting every single day. And then, of course, I recognize that I am mortal. Mm-hmm. So I have more days behind me than I have ahead of me.
I'm with you there.
And so to be able to pass on, to be able to work with them, and the challenge is to get them to recognize early what they think that they would like to do. And to get at that is where we use the 8 core components in order to reach them. The first one I talked about was about the physical fitness part of the program. That is one of the core components. But the first one for us is providing them with life coping skills, helping them deal with anger management for those that have that, conflict resolution, customer service, education, etc. The second core component we deal with is responsibility, citizenship.
I want you to spend some time on that one, because I found that one, to me, when I looked at that core component, Colonel, it was like all of a sudden it just projected itself as being one that we need more of.
Oh, absolutely.
I've talked with folks that are in government today, government leaders, and said to them, does folks understand the basic civic responsibility? Do they understand how this government works?
Absolutely. We, those that are 18 years of age, we register them for selective service. We register individuals for voting. We deal with the helping them to understand government. I'm an old athlete, played ball at the University of North Carolina in Wilmington. You have to be in it to win it.
Exactly.
If you don't participate in the process, you give up and forfeit any rights to be able to complain. Getting them to understand what their civic duties and responsibilities are, and so forth. And youth never cease to amaze me, because they will ask the tough questions, and you have to be prepared to provide them the right answers, and so forth. And then, of course, we focus on job skills, which is the fourth component, helping them to get a job, how to get a job. We take them through the same process that individuals now using, for example, NC Works, to build resumes, how to do job searches, how to get a job, dressing for success, and how to keep a job, being punctual, being on time. As I enforce upon them is, before individuals decide to give you an opportunity. In the investigative world, we call it the C. An individual sees you coming, and they are making an assessment, okay, what perception, positive or negative, that they make of you. The individuals are also looking at the age, trying to figure out, well, what age range the individual falls in. And then, of course, the individual looking at you as they see whatever your particular ethnicity is. This is before individual even decides to give you a greeting. That is just in passing. You have to be prepared in this life as one technique or opportunity to prepare yourself for that success. And then, of course, I've already talked to the physical aspect, but the leadership and followership. Individuals are evaluated. They are put in a leadership role and evaluated. They're put in followership roles. I believe you cannot lead if you cannot follow. Okay? And they experience that. They're evaluated in that process. It is part of the core component that before they graduate and so forth. They learn it's not easy leading your peers. They learn that. And then, of course, education, academic excellence. So their classes are the same classes that they receive in the traditional school: English, science, math, social studies. The components and everything that they receive there, we generally see a major increase in their academic performance, and then, of course, the levels itself.
When I look at and listen to these core components, it causes me to think about reminding folks what their contribution is to this great country we live in. Nobody, I think, understands that more than you do, because you have spent your life contributing to this country. Is that one word, understanding what your role is as a contributor to the country rather than somebody that takes from the country?
Absolutely. It's as we tell them, how are you going to give back? Your participation, your activities, what it is that you do. In fact, one of the major elements of that is that they do service to community. Every cadet prior to graduation meets a minimum of 40 service to community hours. Each class, based on the size, generally averages anywhere between 8,000 to 10,000 service to community hours.
Wow.
Just amazing contribution and so forth that they do. And then, of course, they They have an oath that they undertake, and to try to live up to that oath in both their performance, word, and deed.
One of the things I want to remind folks as you talk about contribution to the community is this aspect that when they see these kids out there, and they may be directing traffic, they may be working a public event somewhere, they may be, I've seen them do everything from wait tables right on around.
Right.
They, as you pointed out already, I want to remind folks, these are not, quote, felons. These are people that are looking structure and direction in their life. Speak to that very briefly before we go to break.
That is correct. In fact, when each class graduates, less than 10% of the class may have even had any infractions with law, meaning having a probation officer or even having a counselor. The individuals gain this structure. They're looking to go beyond themselves and going to the events, and they have participated in many, as you've already outlined. We have various organizations that continually to contact us that we can't meet all of the obligations in phone calls. There's those that traditionally we have dealt with, and they also do a fundraiser in which they give back to the community. And you see the Red Cross, they just made a donation to the wounded soldiers. They are continually looking for the opportunities, and I'm just proud and glad to be a part of that as I help as a director to give them guidance and ideas to help the cadet leadership, which we call the CAB, as they select their leaders from the class to represent those positions.
We're going to go to our next break, and when we come back, I want to remind folks, I want to try to talk about the challenge experience from the day that person walks in the door to whomever it is drops them off, if it's their parent, grandparent, guardian, or whatever, to give them kind of an inside look at what you see and what you've heard the cadets reveal to you that they felt when they came through that door. Because to anybody listening, they can only imagine this is a heart-wrenching situation on both sides.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking with Colonel Edward Timmons, retired United States Army. We're talking about the North Carolina Tarheel Challenge Program and what it can mean to you and your life. We'll be back in a moment.
What? How can that be? No way someone broke in and stole my TV. Unless I want to install steel bars, I'll call the experts in security. Star Communications is the one that I can trust to get the job done.
Yeah, the only thing worse than that is not feeling safe in your own home or business.
Call Star Communications now. We're your local security experts, from alarms and monitoring to automation and personal protection.
Word.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I want to thank you for being with us today. Hope you called a friend to have them tune in. Remember, this show is a replay on Star Communications Channel 16 at 7 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We air each and every week at 2:30 p.m. There's a summation of the show in the Sampson Weekly newspaper. And again, it is a summation, not word for word, so if you can pick us up and watch the show, you may get a little more in-depth. Colonel Edward Timmons, retired North Carolina Justice Academy director. Again, when you took that job, I keep reading these things you said. You said you want parents and students, counselors, teachers, attorneys, judges, principals, probation officers to know that Tarheel Challenge Academy is a possible option for at-risk or level 16, 18-year-old children. It is important for our youth to know that we want them to dream, believe, and achieve.
Absolutely.
Is those words there when you see that first day, that person, whatever skin color, male, female, tell me what you see, and then as this program moves forward to that one day,
Sure.
and you give those 5 tickets out to people to show up because it's got so big you ain't got enough room. They show up at that graduation. From the first day to that day of graduation, what did you see the first day, and now what do you see in their eyes that last day?
The first day that young man or young woman shows up, I'm excited for that young man and young woman. They're scared. They know that they're going into the unknown. They show up on that particular day bringing the list of things that they have been directed to bring as we go through an process with them. Some of them even to that, rather their hair is long, and most of them are their hair is very, very, very long. They come in, you can see the apprehensiveness on their face and the fear, which is expected. They go through an assembly process, a clearinghouse, paperwork and so forth is exchanged. Their clothes and so forth, their clothing and their packing list is inventoried. Things that they brought that they're not authorized to have, we send those items back with their parents. When they finish going through the assembly process, it is the last time that the parents are able to see them. We call that their exit. And the parents go to an exit interview where I meet with the parents and communicate with them.
Is there a lot
about
of
certain
clinics
things.
and
Oh,
tissue?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you will be amazed. In fact, I have a series of things that I go through with the parents, and I say, you know, if I contact you, we need your assistance, and you're the weak one, mom, or you're the weak one, dad, give the phone to the stronger one, okay? And so forth. So we go through that. After the toughest part of the program, I know, is the first month. We get them through the first month. They're able to make a phone call after that time home. Parents I impress upon them sending them a letter or postcard the moment that they leave so that they receive that on about Wednesday or Thursday of that week, and so forth. Strictly encouragement. So that, hey, we're proud of you, Johnny, Susie, what have you. Keep the faith, be strong, we'll be here for you then. And watching them go through the process as they learn themselves, as their excitement grows, as they get closer to graduation and they realize that they did it. We've had individuals lose 10 pounds, 30 pounds, 57 pounds. And to see this transformation, and then of course, the human side of me as they look at it, as I said, okay, do I need to show you what you looked like at the beginning? And then, oh, sir, don't show that. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, they are so excited about who they have become, and to see them on graduation and that experience, and for the words of the cadets themselves, two of the greatest accolades that I have ever received, as I shared off air with you, was for a cadet to say, you know, Colonel Timmons is my daddy. That's my father. The fact, oh, he's so motivating, he's done this, he's done that. The other accolade is that for the program and my staff, that what the Academy did for them, they didn't judge me. They told me that whatever I did before didn't matter. It's what you do now, taking accountability and so forth for yourself. And the third point that I will make is what we do for the families. For individuals to say, sir, that changed my relationship with my family. My father or my mother now communicate, we can carry on a conversation. We may not still agree, but I still remember what you said. Hey, don't wear your feelings on your sleeve. You don't have to like it, but you need to respect them because that's your elder. And so forth. You will understand some things as you get a little bit older. But to see the graduation, on graduation day, to see the excitement in these cadets' faces and their parents, and I clearly understand them screaming out and so forth as you've seen at numerous graduations, because individuals don't know the personal struggle that family may have had, and to see that day that they may have thought was never going to come.
And I think part of that, when I hear you talk about this, and I just feel the passion you have for this, is that there's so many families out there that have absentee family members.
Absolutely.
I mean, you talked about early on your father passing away. Well, there's so many families out there that their parents hadn't passed away. Right. They're just not present.
Correct.
And so when they see you, and they see you with the Tarheel Challenge Program, giving them structure there's got to be part of that child that wants and needs that structure.
Absolutely.
Somebody give me a parameter.
Correct.
So speak to that in the sense of how you deal with it in the both female and male side. To me, that seems to be a huge challenge. You got to have an excellent staff.
I can't say enough about my staff, because what I would like everyone to know, not everyone can do what we do. You can imagine as you pass someone and you think that someone disrespected you. Some folks have road rage. Some individuals want to swing around and comment or say something. But to recognize or think that you may have been disrespected, and here's an individual that needs your help. Mm-hmm. They don't realize how much of your assistance that they're going to need. Well, you have to put that behind you. We are human, and my staff knows, as I repeatedly say, you have to bury your baggage very, very deep. We go through a process of training and reevaluating ourselves before we take on each class, so that we don't take whatever experience negative forward with the next class and so forth. And that's just something we do. My staff is personally selected. Everyone goes through the North Carolina State Merit Employment process. They're vetted just like anyone else. You have to, go online in order to apply for a job. But everyone cannot do this job, and I recognize that, and I don't underscore that at all. The staff, by the time we graduate every class, we know every cadet. We know what kind of makes them tick. We know who's had whatever issues, but it's about helping them work through those things to get to graduation. And I think that is one of the major aspects that makes the program so unique as to how we deal with the individual. Now, I will honestly tell you, I cannot help a young man or young woman that does not want to do their, and what I call not doing their part. Right. Their part is they must be involved. You must go through the process. You must go to class. You must do the physical training. No, excuses and so forth are not obtained. And our number one priority is the safe health and welfare of every single cadet. You hear the passion in my voice. I treat and take care of every single individual that is entrusted into our care. Now, that doesn't mean that things don't happen. Mm-hmm. This is a school. Mm-hmm. The same situations that happen in a traditional school happen there. The difference is they can't run away from their issues. They have to deal with it and move forward. And it helps make them stronger, and it makes them better.
Each and every day, one key point I want to make, because we're soon coming to close the show, but not only does this program give them mentors while they're there, it's set up so they have a mentor already arranged after they leave the program that ensures that they're on track and that they have engaged in some kind of gainful employment, or they maybe go to the military.
That is correct. We're tracked in four major areas, as you mentioned. Military, if that's their choice and that they qualify, civilian employment, volunteerism that reaches the hours and so forth of an individual doing work, and then of course being in the workforce. And we provide them all the access that we can for the opportunities for them to reach that. They also receive a stipend. It's not a lot of money, but it averages anywhere right around $100 a month if they have met all of the gates continuously after they have left the program, to continue to receive that stipend for the 12 and a half months that they are out after they've graduated.
So basically, we're looking at a program that not only lends itself to the saving of huge dollars, but also preparing folks for jobs, employability, and almost job ready when they come out to be able to take a job.
Absolutely. My greatest challenge is that 16 or 17-year-olds in the workforce becomes a challenge.
Colonel, I want to thank you for taking your time for being here today. I want to wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank
and
you.
many more years, and don't go anywhere. And
Okay.
hopefully we can get multiple academies throughout North Carolina and continue to be an example.
Absolutely. And if individuals want additional information, all they have to do is Google TCA or Tarheel Challenge, and it will come up and it'll give you take you straight to the website.
And that number is 910-525-5520.
That is correct.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, we've been talking with Colonel Edward Timmings. We thank you for being with us today. We look forward always to seeing you again next week on the radio, and may God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of We Should Know with host J.W. Simmons. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion regarding this or any episode, please send your emails to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. And remember to tune in every Tuesday at 2:30 for another informative episode of We Should Know.